But now let us continue. And starting off, of course, with a sip of water. Because that's how all good visual novels start. Let us... What did she say? Must have just arrived. Let us reply. Yeah. Alright then, welcome. She smiled broadly. Strange, it looked as if I had just a normal girl in front of me. I shouldn't have returned here. The woods and fields seemed better. But what shall I do next? Try to speak with her as if she was a human, or run away, or what? The blood was pumping unbearably in my head, tearing it apart from the inside a little bit more, and the poor pioneer girl would be splattered with the gruesome contents of my skull. What's so funny about that? The girl looked me over. It sent shivers down my spine and my knees started to tremble. Nothing. Great then. Great? What's so great about that? Suddenly a thought crossed my mind. To hell with it all. Forget about the boss behind me, the fact that it was winter yesterday and summer today. I wanted to rip off my itchy sweater and just accept that all this is actually happening. Everything is as it should be. All this is for the best. Would you happen to know? You should go to our camp leader. She'll tell you everything. Look, you go straight ahead to the square, then turn left. You'll see several small cabins. She pointed at the gates as if I knew what was behind them. You can ask someone where Olga Dimitrievna's cabin is. Patronymic derivative of person's father's name. Okay. Got it? Of course I didn't. Well, I've got to go now. The girl waved her hand at me and disappeared through the gates. It seemed as if to her I was something ordinary. And all this show with the boss and the travels while awake or asleep were troubling only to me, while everything here is just the way it is supposed to be. Camp leader, pioneer uniform. What are they doing? A historical reenactment here? I hope I won't find Lenin standing atop an armored car in this square. But even that would not surprise me right now. After standing alone for a while, I headed into the camp. A mere 50 meters ahead, a small one-story house popped up on the left side. The sign near the door said clubs. I was about to come closer when the door suddenly opened and a short girl wearing a pioneer uniform came out. Her pretty face gave me the impression of one suffering for the fate of the whole of mankind with a truly universal sorrow. As soon as she saw me, the girl froze as if frightened. I froze too, considering what was the best to do. To approach first or wait until she showed some initiative. Or maybe run away after all. Although this last option was constantly being suggested only by my self-preservation instinct, or at least that's what I'd like to believe. Not the worst human instinct, but far from the most logical. If this instinct played poker against deductive abilities, the outcome would be predetermined. And those deductive abilities, or at least their semblance, were hinting to me that there was no need to be afraid of this girl. Suddenly somebody jumped out of the nearby bushes. Please, apologies for a second. A girl wearing a bright red t-shirt with USSR written on it. You guys sure this game is Twitch friendly? Yeah, that's fine. Such a perfect reproduction of the age. She looked quite short from a distance and was probably younger than both pioneer girls. And the one at the gate and this girl at the front of the door of the clubs. At last I decided to come closer, but the USSR, as I called her in my mind, jumped towards the first girl and started telling her something while wildly waving her arms. The other girl in turn seemed confused and lowered her gaze, remaining silent. I would have probably continued to observe their amusing dialogue, but the USSR suddenly pulled something out of her pocket and started waving it in front of the first girl's face. This something turned out to be a grasshopper. Eee! The first girl squealed. She must not be keen on insects, as she is instantly rushed off towards the place where Lenin presumably made his speech about the workers' and peasants' revolution. That is to say, towards the square. USSR glanced at me and playfully grinned and dashed after her. Not a bad start to the day. I have absolutely no clue where I am, besides that there are some kids here role-playing as pioneers. And as far as I can tell, this place is located thousands of kilometers away from my home. It might even be a different reality. And this was was indeed a reality. I mean, everything around me seemed so real, if a little embellished, that I was starting to think that in fact my previous life could have just been a dream. What am I supposed to do now? I was picking up the cracked paving stones with my shoe and staring aimlessly at the club's building. Just a few more seconds before I have to come up with some decision. That's when I recalled myself rolling on the grass, weeping. I cringed in disgust. Perhaps it's another instinct. When all energy for whimpering and self-pitying is used up, the body either goes into hibernation or mobilizes its reserves. Mine seemed to have chosen the second option, because out of the blue I found determination to figure out what was going on. And in order to do that, I had to act like a man, like a human, to maintain the dignity of a representative of my own world. I followed the path to the left, on the right side of which stood small cabins, apparently the homes of the local pioneers. Actually, they looked quite cozy from the outside. Even though I was born in the Soviet Union, I had never been a part of its children's organizations, neither the pioneers nor even the younger October children. I imagined the daily life of a typical pioneer camp a bit differently. Huge barracks with long rows of metal bunks, wake up call at 6 o'clock played by a siren, 1 minute to make your bed, then joining the formation at the drill square. Or wait, could I be confusing it with something else? Hi Nagels, you arrived just in time for a visual novel. uh, because that's always fun. Suddenly something struck me on the back. I staggered but remained on my feet and turned around and prepared to fight heroically for my life. But all I found was another girl standing before me. My mouth hung open in surprise. I don't. I think the translation is still rather awkward, I would say. So, yeah, it's probably still rather awkward. So, I think it's very awkward at the very least. But it's bearable. It's not the worst translation I've seen, so it's fine, it's fine. Pick your job off the ground. I closed my mouth. The same pioneer uniform, but the way she was wearing it looked, let's say, provocative. Like all the girls I had met here before, this one was rather cute, but her overly arrogant expression killed any desire to get to know her better. I don't know about this game at all. I didn't even read the synopsis. That's how much I know. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think going into things blind is rather interesting. New here, are you? Fine, see ya. She threw a threatening glance at me and walked past. I waited for the pioneer girl to turn at the corner. Who knows what else she might have been up to. The most interesting thing was that even this hostile girl seemed completely normal to me. She did not give off the feeling of some deadly danger. Except maybe the danger of getting punched in the nose. At last I managed to make it to the square. There was no Lenin on an armored car, although one could easily expect something like that after all this had happened. Instead, however, a monument to certain comrade toward in the middle of the square. The letters on the pedestal read Genda. Must be some big figure in the party. There were some small benches at the sides. It is quite pleasant here. Where did that girl tell me to go? To the left or the right? To the left or the right? To the left or the right? Why am I going there anyway? Alright, I've decided to pretend to be normal. So, to the right. Through a small grove. I came out at a pier. I must have taken a wrong turn. Hey, wrong way. I turned towards the voice. That first girl stood before me. I wonder if this is Twitch friendly. I should probably cover up. I don't know. I really hope that this is Twitch friendly still. This at the very least wasn't on the banned list, so... I should just make sure just one more time. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be on the banned list, so... Now, what did I tell you? Take left at square, wasn't it? She had changed from her pioneer uniform into a bikini. Oh, I still haven't introduced myself. My name is Slavia. Actually, my new full name is Slaviana, but everyone called me Slavia. So you can too. Yeah. I still felt a bit confused, so I could not come up with more meaningful answers. And what's your name? It felt like she could see right through me. Yeah, I know that there's no age scenes, but still some lewd scenes might be, you know, not allowed. So I might not actually be able to even upload this to YouTube, I think. That would be rather unfortunate. Yeah. Steam certainly doesn't allow age scenes, but you can get them through a patch, I'm pretty sure. If you want. That's always a good sign. Yeah, Semyon. Semyon? I don't know. Yeah. Although, like, the biggest problem will be uploading these to YouTube, because YouTube is very strict with these things. So, I'm rather uncertain if they will even allow this. So, it's going to be really questionable, to say the least. Nice to meet you, Semyon. Alright, I'm almost done here. Could you wait here a minute? I'm going to change and we'll go to Olga Dmitrievna together, agreed? Twitch doesn't allow it either. Yeah. This hopefully will be fine. At the very least, this isn't on the banned list, so Twitch allows it. This game. Agreed. After this exchange, she ran off. I sat on the pier and let my feet hang into the water. Yeah. It's... Fortunately, Steam is fine with, at the very least, distributing those games with the age scenes censored. That makes them quite... That's just really good. I was wearing heavy winter boots, but in such weather, there was nothing wrong with getting my feet wet. Furthermore, it let me cool myself a little. Looking at the river, I was brainstorming and processing everything that has happened. If this is some kind of conspiracy, it's a weird one, even too friendly at times. No, it really looks like more... It really looks more like a random event. Some entirely incomprehensible random event. Oh! That's going to be interesting to see what that exactly entails. I wonder what that new recommendation system actually even does. Like, if it will make games completely unable to buy, like, for minors, and if it's just gonna cause a huge uproar when Steam will be distributing age games. That would be really unfortunate, I think. Or mostly because, you know, people can still patch them, but mostly because, well, it will just cause a huge uproar in the media. Shall we go? Slavia was standing beside me, dressed in the pioneer uniform again. Let's go. I've been here for a very short time, but of all the people I've met, she looks the least suspicious. However, this fact is already suspicious itself. We walked to the square. The USSR girl and the girl who hit me on the back were there, chasing each other. Is that some kind of game they are playing? Uliana, enough running, I'll tell everything to Olga Dmitrievna. Aye, Captain. I decided not to question Slavia for a while about what was going on, or the local residents. Better meet with this mysterious Olga Dmitrievna first. It sounds like she's the boss here. We walked past the rows of almost identical cabins, some of which looked like fat beer barrels, while others looked more like household sheds. Finally, Slavia stopped in front of a smallish one-story cabin. It looked like an artist's painting. Faded paint, chipping here and there with age, was sparkling in the sun. The window shutters slightly ajar were swaying almost unnoticeably in the wind, and the huge lilac bushes were growing at the sides. It seemed as if this ramshackle hut was drowning in the storm of purple silk, and the lilacs, like some elemental force, were inexorably destroying the troop leader's house. What are you standing around for? Let's go! Slavia snapped me out of my daydreaming, and stopped teasing Lena already. Lena? Huh. Great. Sounds like there's someone inside. Indeed, a moment later, the door swung open and Uliana ran out and dashed past with same mischievous grin. The pigtailed girl came out next. Don't let it bother you, Lena. So her name is Lena. Gotta be thankful it's not Rena, at least. Yeah. But I don't. Instead of finishing her sentence, she blushed and quickly headed towards the square. For some reason I felt like turning and following her with my eyes, but Slavia said, "Come." It's gonna be really hard just continually pronouncing these Russian names. I hope there's not gonna be like a lot of characters, like, because even though Russian is supposedly a language that should be fairly easy for me to pronounce, I'm still gonna struggle with it quite a bit. We entered the cabin. Inside it looked something similar to what I'd imagined. 2 beds, a table, a couple of chairs, a simple carpet on the floor, a wardrobe. Nothing special, but at the same time it felt like home-like and cozy, almost, although this room was almost in the same state of disorder as my own flat. The girl standing near the window appeared to be about 25 years old. Nature had obviously gifted her with a pretty face and a good body. At least one thing can keep you happy in this pandemonium. The locals are beautiful. You're finally here. Excellent. My name's Olga Dmitrievna. I'm the camp leader. Nice to meet you, I'm Semyon. I decided to talk as if I wasn't surprised by anything that was going on. She came closer. We've been expecting you since early morning. You've been expecting me? Yes, of course. And when does the next bus come? Why do you need it? Yeah, right, why would I need it? I guess I shouldn't ask direct questions. People here may react to them quite unlike how I'd prefer. And I doubt I'd get any answers. No reason, just curious. By the way, where are we exactly? Our mailing address, I mean? I want to send a letter to my parents to tell them I got here. Fine. For some reason I had a desperate idea that if I played along I would find something out. But your parents called just half an hour ago, sent their regards to you. Now that's a surprise. So, can I call them? Cause I forgot to tell them something before I left. No. She gave me a sweet, spontaneous smile. Why not? We don't have a phone here. Then how could my parents make a call to here? I've just come back from the district central town. I talked with them there. Ah, so that's how it is. And can I somehow get to the town? Nope. She kept the same smile. Why not? Because the next bus only comes in a week. I decided not to inquire how the troop leader managed to get there and back. I would get no answer anyway. All this time Slavia was standing next to me and seemed to find nothing odd in our conversation. Oh, we need to find a uniform for you. I've got absolutely no desire to put on pioneer shorts or to wear the ridiculous red neckerchief. However, wearing winter clothes in summer isn't a great idea either. Right, thank you. I wonder if I'm the only one here who finds it strange that someone's wearing a coat and winter boots in such a heat. Rightio, I'll be off then, and you can get yourself acquainted with the camp. Don't forget to come to dinner in the evening. Having said that, she walked out of the cabin. No, walked is not the right word. She rushed out. I ended up alone with Slavia. I must go too. Got things to do. Take a walk, look around the camp a bit. See you in the evening. If there's no threat or catch to this, then this reality, as embodied by Slavia, becomes more and more appealing. For the first time today I realized that it was awfully hot here. Although obviously my winter clothes were to blame for that. I took off my coat and dropped it onto the bed. My pullover followed it, and I was now wearing only the shirt. That's much better. All I could do now was follow their advice and go look around the camp. I'll try to find something out in the meantime. Passing the local residential district, I saw a pioneer guy coming my way. And it was really a pioneer guy, not a pioneer girl. Apparently there were men even in this kingdom of Amazons. Hello, you're new here. You must be Semyon, right? And how do you... Everyone knows already. I'm Electronic. Well, finally an easy name to pronounce, by the way. The real one, you can call me that. Electronic, the real one. Things were going from crazy to completely insane. Electronic was a robot character appearing in the popular Soviet film and book series. He looked like an exact copy of a school kid called Sergei Chizkov. Chizkov, okay. Okay. Alright. Uliana also calls me Cheesy. Cheesy. On toast with mushrooms? Because my last name is Chizkov. I see. Let me show you around. I accepted his offer as it would have taken much longer to get to know this place alone. Fine, let's go. We ended up at the square again, as if this place was all there is to this camp. Then I was sitting on one of the benches reading some book. Electronic confidently approached her. Hello Lena, meet the new guy, Semyon. She started briskly. Hello. Well, you could say we've already met in a way. Yes. She looked away from the book for a moment, glanced at me, blushed, and went back to reading, as if not noticing that we were still here. Alright, let's go on. I was at first surprised that meeting this girl was reduced to a couple of words, but then I thought that it was better that way. Electronic's vigorous activity did not fit well with Lena's shyness. Let's go. Next we came to a building which I instantly identified as a canteen. And this here, I know, this is where you consume organic food. Yeah, something like that. On the canteen's porch stood the unfriendly girl who hit me on the back earlier. At the sight of her, my joking mood vanished in a blink of an eye. Really, now is not the best time to be pulling this guy's leg, even though he's quite hilarious. First I need to figure out what's what, or at least why I'm here. Where I am. Hey, over there, that's Alisa Dwachevskaya. Dwachevskaya. Jesus. Alisa. Be careful around her. He spoke in a whisper. Don't ever risk calling her Dwache. Huh. The whole nickname sounds exactly like Tucci in Russian, which is referenced. Oh! Tuchan. Yeah. Dwache. She doesn't like that. What did you say? What did you call me? She must have heard him. In the blink of an eye, Alisa jumped down from the porch and dashed towards us. Alright, you'll manage from here onwards. Electronic took to his heels. Do nothing. Alisa running past stopped for a moment and growled. I'll deal with you later. Deal with me? What did I do wrong? I added a forced, guilty smile to my words. But what am I guilty of? She made no reply and carried on chasing Electronic. Looks like I'll have to kill time alone, waiting for dinner. I decided to go east. At least in the direction where east would be in my world. Soon after I found myself near a football pitch. A game was in full swing there. I guess watching it for a bit wouldn't do any harm. In my childhood and teen years, I was not a bad player myself. Yeah, the sprites are kind of mismatched with the general background, but I mean, the sprites are good and so is the background, but they are rather mismatched. Although that's not really all that uncommon for some visual novels. So, and by the way, it's a free game, so they shouldn't be complaining about that kind of minor nitpick. I even thought of going professional, but a few injuries in a row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of uncertain chance in the game. Kids of different ages were running around the pitch. I could see a boy of about 10 and a girl of about 14 years old. A girl. Hey, that's Uliana. Alright, so she plays football. What's so surprising? She seems a restless one after all. I was standing quite far from the pitch, but she still noticed me. Hey you, Uliana shouted. Wanna play? I didn't know how to answer. On the one hand, running around for 10 minutes is no big deal. On the other hand, any wrong move in my situation could be my final one. But in any case, my attire wasn't suitable for this weather. If I played in winter boots and warm jeans, I would sweat like a pig. And playing barefoot without jeans would simply be unethical. Maybe another time, alright? I shouted in response, turned around and walked back. I was followed by Uliana's screams about my pants or about me being a pansy or something like that. Evening was falling, making me feel tired and empty after a day wasted with no real purpose. I came back to the square, sat down on a bench and gave an exhausted sigh. I'd better sit here and wait for dinner. After all, it's easier to search for answers when you're not hungry. They do give the food to the people here, right? You know, it's curious how the simplest human needs can break the will to ponder on things, to strive for something. For example, I feel hungry now, so I care much less about where I am or what is happening to me. Could great people also be affected by this? And in that case, how did Spartacus start the slave uprising in ancient times? I can only conclude that I am not a great person, and it does not really matter which mechanism I serve. Yes. Yeah, the face looks like it's just like, ugh. Yeah, it looks like it's face palming. In society, the Matrix or a weird pioneer camp. Come on, at least play in tempo. My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of bells chiming from a loudspeaker on a light bulb. It must be the dinner call. I headed towards the canteen. It was a good thing that I now knew where it was. Olga Dmitrievna was there, standing on the porch. I stopped and looked closely at her, as if I were expecting something. She looked back at me for a while, but at last came closer. Semyon, what are you waiting for? Come in already. Yes, nothing bad can happen if I go with her. My stomach backed me up here. The two of us went inside. The canteen looked like a canteen. I had a chance to visit a factory canteen at some point in my life. This one was exactly the same, just maybe a bit cleaner and more modern. Metal chairs and tables, glazed tiles on the walls and on the floor, unsophisticated tableware with the occasional crack. Yes, that's what a canteen in a pioneer camp supposed to look like. Semyon, wait a moment. We'll find you a place to sit. She looked around the place. Dvachevskaya. Dvachevskaya, hold it right there. Olga Dmitrievna shouted at Alisa, who was passing by. Hmm? What? What's up with your clothes? Anything wrong with them? Indeed, her attire looked somewhat provocative. Get your uniform nice and neat right now. Alright, alright. Alisa got her shirt right and walked past, shouting an unpleasant glare at me. So where can we find you a place to sit? There weren't a lot of free seats. Go over there, next to Uliana. Maybe I... Yeah, it's fine, the food's already on the table too. I had no other choice but to accept. Of course there was the probability that the cutlets were poisoned with curare. The mashed potatoes generally seasoned with arsenic and the glass filled with excellent antifreeze instead of compote. Kotleta is minced meat, fried bacon. Compote is a drink made by Okay. I mean, the backgrounds are pretty goddamn well drawn. I would actually agree with you that they are better drawn than the main characters themselves. Surprisingly enough. Although there's some details in the main characters which are a little bit better drawn, but that's mostly because of the perspective and the what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say mostly because of the distance. You can see the scarf a little bit more detailed than, for example, here. But that's mostly because she's closer. But it all looked so tasty that I had no chance to resist. Hey, what do you want? I replied rather rudely to Uliana, who was sitting next to me. Why didn't you play football with us? Because of my clothes? Said I, pointing to at the source of the problem. Oh, alright then, eat. However, there wasn't much left to eat. My cutlet was missing from the plate. Only she could have done it. No, more precisely, none but Oliana could have done it. Give me back my cutlet. In a big family, you snooze, you lose. It can cost you a cutlet if you're careless. Give it back, I'm telling you. So many save games. Actually, with that, it's already been half an hour, so I kind of regret changing games this quickly, but I kind of want to spare my voice. So we shall be changing game once again, because I want to do something different.